All right, we are back with another Rockstead. Now, I have done a few Rockstead videos over the course of my channel, and I've actually done a Higo model previously. It was totally different configuration, so I feel like I can do this one because this has desert ironwood scales. The other one was all titanium scales, I think it was. It was like 3 years ago. I don't remember all the details. Okay. This one comes with a leather sheath with the tool for the pivot kind of stuck in there, which I think is a cool idea. Like that's a neat way to kind of keep it all together. It is a Rockstead made sheath and all of that. These are made in Japan and they are of an amazing, amazing quality. Now it comes with a leather sheath because this particular model does not have a pocket clip, which is pretty common for the Rockstead lineup. They do have a few that have pocket clips, but for the most part, in the Japanese-made knives, they just don't do pocket clips. They're not like us here in the United States that carry them clipped to our pocket. These guys are going to carry them down in their pocket or in a leather sheath. These things are incredible. Beautiful DLC coated blade on this one. Now, when I did the unboxing, somebody did comment, "Hey, is there something wrong with the tip of that knife?" I didn't even notice it during the unboxing, but upon closer look, there is a little ching in the tip. Now, this was bought on Arizona Custom Knives. It belongs to a good friend of mine, Cliff, up in Alaska. I'm sure that was talked about and he bought. That can be sharpened out. That's not the end of the world. Rockstead does do free lifetime sharpenings. However, you need to ship it to Japan. You have to include a couple of bucks for them to ship it back to you, but then they will sharpen it for lifetime sharpening. Blah, blah, blah. Beautiful DLC mirror polish. This thing, like you're seeing the actual, so I have an LED panel up here that lights the studio here. And those are the individual LEDs you're seeing because there is no grid on this that has a clear, like, what do you call it? You can see through it, but it's like an opaque fabric, but not a grid. So you're actually seeing the individual LEDs on there is what I think that is, because there is no grid on that. Now, there actually, as I look down, there is a grid pattern, but it's not really a grid pattern. So anyway, you're seeing the light there. And if I get this right, you might be able to see my phone. No, maybe not. You can see my fingers over here as the mirror polish. This thing is just amazing. Crazy sharp, ironwood scales, liner lock, titanium scales, barrel spacers. There is a little bit of a swell out at the edges, in the front and the back, so your hand really does lock in well on this. I really want to own a Rockstead at some point. They're not cheap. You can get them on the secondary market for reasonably decent prices. They run on phosphor bronze washers. My problem is I don't know what model I want. I think I want the Shin. I've done a video on the Shin before. At the end, I'll put a Rockstead playlist in the corner so you can check that out. So, double thumb studs, phosphor bronze washers, doesn't drop shut, but that's how it's designed. It's okay because nobody really drops shut anyway. You're going to close it like a normal guy. All right, so it's 4 5/8 over closed, 8 1/8, 3.4 inch blade, 0.007 behind the edge. These things are crazy sharp. The blade steel on this particular one is YXR7. They also use ZDP 189. Weighs in at 4.7 ounces for the knife alone, or 6.2 as the package. In the paperwork, it tells you these are very sharp when you buy them, and to be careful cutting on plates, because you will actually scratch into a plate at dinner. So if you're using these to cut your steak knife, to use as a steak knife out at a restaurant, be careful, because you're going to probably cut the plate some, because that's how sharp these are, and that is how hard the blade steel is. They do test every single one for HRC. I think that hole is part of that hanging so that it can get the DLC. And there is usually a little hole somewhere kind of hidden where they check the hardness. It's probably down underneath the pivot there. This is number 345. Every single one does come with its own registration number and its own paperwork here. I'm trying to find where it is. So this is what you get with it. It gives you a registration number and all that good stuff. And the HRC is 64 on this one. So I like the fact that they actually, and this is made in 2014, I like the fact that they check every single one and they give you a report of what it is so that you know. HRC, you know, I'm not a steel guy, so to me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I want it done properly. And depending on the blade steel, you want that to be at the right number, right? MagnaCut, you want in that 63, 64 range. Regular, you know, M390, CPM 154, things like that. You want in the, you know, 60-ish, 59, 61, something like that. But here, that was the Spyderco Delica before. Here it is with the custom Hellraiser, just to give you some ideas. I would want one with a pocket clip. They have several models that do have pocket clips. So yeah, at some point I will get one, just because I think it's one of those ones, as a true collector, you kind of need to own at some point. These are production knives, but they rival the quality of a lot of people's custom knives because they are just so precisely made. The fit and finish is amazing. They spend hours and hours and multiple steps to get the blades to the finish that you see here. And I talk in more detail about that in one of my other Rockstead videos, the levels of polishing that they go through and things like that. And sometimes it has to go back because the third person in line with their 1000 grit screws something up. So it's got to go back down the line and start over at the 300 grit or back to the 600 grit guy or whatever the numbers are. So it's a labor of love to produce this super high quality cutting utensil, if you will. So thanks for watching. Please go check out the Rockstead playlist in the corner and let me know your thoughts down below.